On the House side, Republicans are also demanding information from big tech on how their products might affect teenagers' mental health and how they protect Americans' data. Congresswoman Cathy McMorris Rodgers is leading that charge as the ranking member of the House Energy and Commerce Committee. She joins us now. So, Congresswoman McMorris Rodgers, you and several of your Republican colleagues have sent letters to TikTok, Snap, and YouTube asking for internal research on the potential mental health effects that their products have on young Americans. What are your concerns?
Well, as a parent, I would say that my biggest fear as a parent to 3 young kids is big tech. And we are learning more about how big tech functions, that they built these platforms, their algorithms, to not just engage our children, but to keep them on these programs as long as possible, and that they know that is actually impacting their mental health. I remember when Mark Zuckerberg was in front of our committee earlier this year, and I asked him about it, asked him if they'd done any research, and he said, well, it was inconclusive. Now we are learning that they've absolutely done research. They know that whether it's passive observation on these platforms, that it absolutely is harming our kids, and we must have answers, and we must hold them accountable.
In fact, let me take you to some of that research. This was an internal study done by Facebook about its Instagram platform, which found we can make body image issues worse for 1 in 3 teen girls. Teens blame Instagram for increases in the rate of anxiety and depression. You're not just concerned about that, though. You're also concerned about the Chinese Communist Party taking a seat on the board of ByteDance, which is the parent company for TikTok. In your letter, you articulated 2 concerns to TikTok. You said, quote, has the Chinese government directed TikTok to take any action on its platform, including censoring certain content? If yes, please disclose any action TikTok has taken on behalf of the Chinese government. And has the Chinese government sought any data on American users? So 2 other concerns there: possible censoring of conservative content, and what data might be being shared with the Chinese Communist Party.
Exactly. We know that there's a close relationship between big tech and the Chinese Communist Party, and it is of grave concern to us when you consider how much personal information these tech companies are collecting on all of us. You think about our children in particular, and it's clear that they know that they are preying on our children's vulnerabilities, especially young women. And as a conservative, very concerned about their continued effort to silence constitutionally protected speech, political speech, and silence conservatives on their platforms. We must hold big tech accountable. We must stop the censorship, and we must protect our kids.
The head of TikTok's head of public policy, Michael Beckerman, seemed to address one of those questions in the hearing a short time ago. Here's what he said.
We do not share information with the Chinese government. Our research shows that there's no overt data transmission to the Chinese government, and our testing, TikTok did not contact any servers within China.
So he's saying TikTok doesn't share any data with the Chinese Communist Party, but there is a law in China that all they have to do is ask and they get the data.
That's true, and we've asked. We'd like to better understand how much data is actually stored in China. How many of these apps, platforms are collecting data, collecting personal information, and then storing that in China. These are the kind of answers that we need to understand, because it is clear that there's a closer relationship between big tech and the Chinese Communist Party than we fully understood before. And those are that's one pillar of our big tech accountability platform.
Let me ask you one quick question, if I could, because we just got about 30 seconds left. Studies have shown that social media and video games can be as addictive as hard drugs, that they hit the same pleasure centers as cocaine does. Because of that, do there need to be more regulations, or at the very least more oversight over all of this?
Well, we need some transparency for sure. We have a mental health, a suicide crisis. Certainly COVID has contributed to that, but social media, even before COVID, the number of suicides in high schools in Eastern Washington was alarming, and those numbers are escalating right now. And we know now that big tech has done research. They know that that their platforms are having a negative impact on mental health, on our children's mental health, and we must hold them accountable.
And my wife, who you know well, and I are with you on this, Congresswoman. We've got 10-year-old twins, and access to this stuff is our biggest concern with them.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for coming in today.